guys, awesome first workout. What I wanted to cover in this first little mini seminar is that I wanted to make muscle building as easy as possible as far as how you understand it, like logically in your mind of how to break it down. And this is something I wasn't really told over time. It's something I just kind of like came up with. That muscle building can be broken down into 5 main categories. And as long as you have all 5 of these categories down, then you will be able to build muscle. Of course, underneath all these categories, pillars, if you want to call them that, you're going to have other subcategories. And the more that you're involved in this, the more that you do, the more that you're kind of going to tap into that box. Okay, maybe I'm training shoulders today, so I'm going to open up my shoulder box in my mind. And like, okay, I need to know this. It has 3 different heads in my shoulders, front down, side down, through down, whatever, and I have exercises for them. So it kind of starts as almost like a pyramid and works its way down, if that makes sense. But I wanted to make it super simple to start off with. So I wanted to make this super simple. So we're breaking down muscle growth. It comes with, in pretty much no particular order, they're all just as important. Number 1, you have training, nutrition, supplementation, recovery, and mindset. The last one today, mindset, is probably one of my favorite topics, and is what makes or breaks you from what you do inside the gym, or whether you even get to the gym at all. And I'm going to save that for last, because I think it's going to be the best part. But right now, we're going to tackle your training and your recovery. From what we talked about, before, there's 3 different main principles of training that pretty much everything else fits underneath. Number 1 is ownership. You guys probably remember when I was going through the workouts with you, talking about owning the weight from everything. When we were doing those squats, when we were doing everything before, pictured your feet anchored in the ground in concrete. So you're owning every single inch, from the moment you drop all the way down to the moment you come all the way back up. Every single inch of that movement you were owning. Same thing with a bicep curl, same thing with anything else. So that's your first thing. So I want you to think of every single time where you come to the gym and you do a certain exercise or whatever, your first thought that comes into your mind is, am I owning this weight? Because after a while, you may be good on the first rep, maybe the second rep, you start getting to 8, 9, whatever, maybe you're not owning it anymore, it's owning you. And the moment that happens is the moment you stop adjusting. So that's something huge that I want you to point out in this moment. Second is respect. You probably won't really hear this too often, but it's called active controllable range of motion, which is basically respecting your range of motion of what you have in a particular muscle group right now. Some people are tight in certain areas. We were talking a little bit about back, glutes, and hamstrings, and that your squat form is going to be different for everybody. Some people can squat all the way down, no problem. Some people can only go a little bit before the hips drop. So you have to be able to respect where you're strong, where you're weak, and what you that's the second thing. Number 3 is to be disadvantages. When I had you guys doing the lat pull-downs and you were doing that full stretch, we were leaning forward on that full stretch. It's not making it any easier doing that. We want to be disadvantageous when we're in here, as far as making things difficult instead of making things easy. I would say this is the only place in the whole world where you want to make things difficult and not easier than making things. Because when you make things difficult in here, you become stronger. When you become stronger in here, you become stronger out there. And we're going to tackle a lot of that more soon. But I wanted to give you guys, I'm always a person that likes nuggets of information. If you could take something right now and apply it, bam, like go right into it. Like I want the meat of this. Like what can I do? Before every single exercise, we give you lists. These are the things, it's almost like a checklist of what you go through in your mind before you do anything, before any lift. So the first one, like I said, is own the weight. As soon as you pick up the weight, am I owning this? Like all the way. You can almost tell the weight, like, yo, I'm gonna own you. Like this is it. Like it's almost just that mindset of like, I'm going to take this and do everything that I can. I'm in charge of what's going on in here and not the other way around. It's amazing what that little shift in your mind will do. Second is to contract your working muscle first. When we're doing squats, the first thing you do, you're all the way down on the ground, you contract first. Same thing with a bicep curl. If I'm doing a bicep curl right here, I'm contracting my bicep first before I even move. So mentally, I own it, you contract the muscle before it even works. Number 3 is to squeeze it like it owes you money. I like using this term because it's from Ben Polsky, a pro bodybuilder. He loves using this term. Go ahead. He loves the term squeeze it like it owes you money, because that's basically what you're doing. That you're contracting your muscle as hard as you possibly can, and then you're allowing that muscle to contract all the way up, all the way up. Weight is irrelevant. We're not even worried about it. The only thing that your muscle recognizes is tension through it. So when you kind of make that switch in your mind, that like, I'm not just lifting weights, I'm creating tension in my muscle. The muscle doesn't know that's the language that it speaks. So that's what we have to create it. And that's a kind of moved into the next one. Let the contraction move the weight, but not you. So if you're squeezing as hard as you possibly can, then what's going to happen naturally? I like using the leg extension as a good example. We didn't get to do that one today, but you contract hard. Like my leg is naturally moving upwards because I'm squeezing my quad harder and harder and harder. That's the byproduct of you contracting the muscle. Of course, so many people get caught up. I'm like, I need to go from point A to point B. Like that's the exercise. We're not thinking in terms of exercising. We're thinking in terms of movement. That movement allows the contraction to happen. Next would be, this allows your tempo to be slower and controlled. So many people will go through the range of motion and they'll go faster, and it's naturally easy to speed up the process as you go along. The first couple reps you start off slow, like okay, I'm feeling this, you start fatiguing, what happens? You go faster, you go faster, you go faster. And the key is to keep that same tempo the whole time, so when you're doing it right, your tempo is automatically going to slow down. Another thing you can add in here, which we'll show during arms, is a slow positive contraction. A lot of people talk about the negative contraction because obviously that's where most of the muscle breakdown occurs, especially on heavier weights. But if you're contracting slow on the positive, what's happening? Your mind is telling that muscle it needs to contract harder and harder and harder and harder. So, and of course, more disadvantageous for that muscle, which makes it grow. Another thing we will also focus on here in a minute is contracting the antagonist muscle, your opposite muscle, while the muscle you're working is being stretched. Perfect example of this, which I'll touch on now before we get to it, is a rope push down. While I'm pushing down on the rope, so I'm contracting my triceps here. On the way down, I'm focusing on contracting my bicep. What happens when I contract my bicep? This stretches out even more. Remember, we want a full range of motion for every muscle that we do. Every exercise that you're doing, you want to go through your active controllable range of motion, like I mentioned before. So when you're, instead of focusing just on your triceps the whole time, I'm focusing on squeezing my biceps as hard as I can on the way up. And in turn, I'm not feeling it really in my biceps, I'm feeling this stretch out like crazy. So you're getting just a little bit more bang for your buck. If I'm just doing a push down, and I'm not contracting my bicep, contracting it just a little bit more makes the stretch just a little bit more. So now the range of motion is increased. The more range of motion you have, the more ability you have to build muscle bigger. So that's one of the big ones, and we're going to really kill arms here in a minute when we do that. One thing that I mentioned before, which is your next one, is to focus on the joint path, not so much the weight path. So if we're doing curls like we will be doing soon, I'm coming all the way up. I'm not focusing on where the dumbbell is, where my hand is. I'm focusing where my elbow is. If I'm pulling up like this all the way back, you see where my joint goes? My elbow, I'm thinking about it that way. So it's not in terms of up and down. It's in terms of forward and back. So as I'm pulling up, my elbow drops back. When it drops back, that dumbbell is still against gravity. It's still being forced out of contraction. Except now my bicep is fully contracted right here. And now as I'm going forward, what happens to my joint? It started back here, now it's forward. So I'm thinking forward, back. So it's, I mean, when you're having light weights, you can almost go like this and you can really see it. When you start getting heavy, you won't notice it. But in your mind, that's what you're going to be doing. You're going, bam, I'm going all the way back, so I'm making that muscle work as hard as possible. What happens when normal people do this? They come all the way up with a dumbbell curl, the elbows track forward. You're making it easier. Where the dumbbell is here, in that position. Where is it exerting force? Straight down. And you're right, the shoulders picking up the rest of that. The dumbbell is exerting force straight down, which means I can hold that dumbbell here pretty much all day, my biceps aren't going to get anything out of it. As soon as I open it up, now that dumbbell is forcing my bicep out of contraction, so now it's making it difficult. So those are just the little things we'll touch on here in a second, but to go through your full range of motion and focus on your joint path, not so much of where the weight is. And every single exercise, every muscle group has different joint paths, so hopefully you can pull some of those from what we do today. And of course the last one is to push past your pain barrier. This is one of the big ones that dives more into the mindset part of things. But if you can control it in your mind, everyone has, what do you think right now of the hardest workout you've ever done? Like, today we push a little bit, but it's probably not as much or whatever. I mean, people probably think about legs, but the hardest workout I think I've ever done was when I was doing firefighting stuff for about a year. I was about to pass out on the ground. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. You have that pain barrier set in your mind of where you're at. Your goal is to be able to get to that point and try and push past it with everything. Right now, if you're first starting or whatever it is, if you're a beginner, you're still trying to maximally push that over and over and over. But the more advanced that you get, you have to hit that every single day or you will not go. It's just the point of it. The people that come in here and have a strong mind are the ones that are going to get results. The ones that are just kind of lollygagging, like maybe they can lift heavy weights and all those things. No, if they don't have a strong mind, they're not going to be able to push it. And so those are the 8. What I'm going to do at the end of this too, I'm going to make sure I send this list to you guys, because I know it's harder to like write everything down or try to remember everything. Mine's going to be packed with a ton of information today. I'm going to make sure you have it. So everything that I'm teaching you today, I'm going to put it in like a PDF form so you guys have it. So it's easier to go on to like 1, 2, 3 checklist, put it in your mind, makes it a whole lot easier all the way around. Now, a little bit of quick tips before we go into the recovery portion. So anyone have a weak muscle group? I know we talked to Chris about having quads were dominant, which automatically usually means the hamstrings are the weaker muscle group. What's any other weak muscle group you guys have? Just off the top of your head. Biceps are weak? What about you? Shoulders? Okay. Wow, I'm weak everywhere, bro. I'm weak everywhere. A good thing after a while is to start adding touch-up sessions for your weak body parts during the week. So for me, I was really trying to bring up my shoulders and my triceps. My biceps were dominant, but I wasn't as wide. So I would hit those at least 2 or 3 times a week. But you can start with just 1 more. I don't know where training muscle 1 time a week. It's just stupid. Like if it recovers in 48 to 72 hours, why don't you hit it again? Like Monday's chest, the back, and the legs, and shoulders and arms. You can go and do that again. I did that for the first probably 7 years of training. Like I got results, but until after a while I was like, man, like where did I play into this? It's because you see everyone else. Yeah, you see everyone else do it, and the magazines say it, the forums say it, bodybuilding. And now it's trying to get to the point where, like you can train multiple times a week at that same muscle group, or you can even train the same muscle group 3 days in a row, or more than that, which is what I've done. We'll get into all that fun stuff later. That's when it starts getting really, really fun. You want to bring up a muscle group? I put an inch on my arms in 6 weeks by doing that. 3 days of arms in a row. I'll tell you, if you ever felt pain, that's pain right there. Try doing that with legs. I actually haven't done that with legs yet. Yeah, glutes. Glutes 3 days in a row. I'll tell you, you guys see like speed skaters or anything like that? What are the quads like? It's freaking like huge. Like what's it, Apollo Ono or whatever it's in the Olympics? That was the first thing I thought of when I saw him when I was a kid. I'm like, jeez. What does he do every single day? He skates. He speed skates. That's why his quads are huge. He does it every single day. Your muscle doesn't know. It doesn't know what you're doing. It just knows tension. So it's kind of, I feel like this industry is kind of switching into that aspect of like, man, we can really do these things. I thought it was wrong to train multiple times a week. No, we can get into that too, and I'll help you guys out a lot with that. Next is to use intentions to create maximal tension. This is from Ben Mikulski, who I learned the intentions from. He pretty much taught the whole world this. Where a good example would be on like a bench press. If I'm just doing a bench press up and down, it's fine. Like maybe I'm contracting my chest and all that stuff too. But instead, maybe on the way down, I'm shoving my hands together. What happens to my chest? You can just see my chest. Creates tension, huh? It contracts. So all I'm doing is creating tension, bam, it's the way down. So if I'm doing that on the way up and the way down, bam, all that tension's on the inside of my arms. So you're making it harder on yourself. People that are watching you in the gym have no idea what you're doing. And I feel like that's pretty cool. You know, if you're in here, you almost feel like elite. Like, people can see me watching, they're like, oh, that guy's just doing bench press and all that stuff. But, like, man, they don't even know what I'm doing. Like, they don't know that, like, my mind is up here. And then I'm doing something that most 99% of people in the gym have no idea what's going on. So using intentions, we did it on squats before. When I was having you shove your feet outwards, then you're anchored into the ground, the outside of your hamstrings, quads, glutes, all that's being contracted. So using intentions wisely will really, really help you in training. We'll add some of that later on today as well. And the next is to always, I wouldn't say always, but to train for a pump. A lot of people will focus on just their exercises, what they're doing. If you're not feeling what you're doing something. And a lot of that has to do with not feeling like the blood flow into that muscle. So when it starts with the right techniques, everything that we're doing today, you will feel the muscle work. When we were doing those squats all the way down, you feel the blood flow in your quads. Did anybody have a crazy quad pump after doing that? Like, yeah, you're creating tension in your muscle, you're creating blood flow. A good technique that I kind of throw in every once in a while is when I first start a muscle group, I'll do 50 reps of something, whatever it is. 50 reps of curls, 50 reps of like bench press or like a fly or something like that. You you do 50 reps in a row, you're going to have some blood flow going through it. So you establish a pump and then work from there. You can always throw that in at the end of your workouts and stuff like that too, but that is another part of building muscle. You have hyperplasia, and you have hypertrophy, with actual growth of the muscle cell. The more blood flow you get into that muscle cell, the more it's going to grow too. So it's not just one way to build muscle, it's two. And having that amount of blood flow in there is something that's going to increase it. That's something that Arnold did before. Every time he did a curl, he's picturing his biceps growing like mountain goats. So he's just imagining that happen, and that blood flow is getting more and more and more and more. That you feel like it's just tight and full all the time, no matter what muscle group you're training. Legs, of course, is going to be a little bit different. You're probably going to feel it everywhere. You're going to feel like but your blood flow should be on point no matter what. And next is your periodization approach. And this is where people, I feel like, fall short. Because they'll come into the gym, they'll be like, okay, I'm going to get a good workout today. They think about today. They're not thinking about periodizing their training in blocks over time. So where that comes in is about 12 or 16 weeks. So you're planning out the next 3 or 4 months of like, this is what I'm going to do in these 3 or 4 months. This is my goal. So if I have a goal for those months or whatever, then I know I can backtrack. So for month 1, like this is what I'm doing. Month 2, this is what I'm doing. And then you break it down even like weekly. Like maybe the first week I'm training heavy. The second week is a little bit more like hypertrophy based. The third week is volume. Like you have a plan, you have something set in place. So many people just go to the gym like, hey, we lifted today? Yeah, we'll lift today. We're gonna hit shoulders and all that stuff. How do you know that you're progressing? How do you know that you're growing? So many people won't even do that. They won't have a periodized set plan and stick to it. So, and that's where the recovery, once you hit 12 or 16 weeks, you need some sort of deload. People think muscle growth is like this. I'm just gonna keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. When in actuality, muscle growth is like, okay, so maybe you'll have a spurt and then this, or if you really suck your life, it'll be like this and then like this. And then, like, oh, I just lost everything, and you got sick or whatever it is and all that stuff, but luckily it'll come back to you in full force. But it should be over time, you have a little spurt that you recognize and you grow just a little bit. You're gonna grow in phases. That's everything. Fat loss comes in phases. Everything comes in phases because your body needs to regulate what you're doing. If it sees that you're shoveling down a ton of calories and stuff all the time, which we're going to talk about next with all the nutrition supplementation, it's going to get used to what you're doing. So you have to cycle it in blocks. So you have periods of growth. It's like structured, periodized plans of growth. So 3 or 4 months at a time, I'm growing. Like my number one focus is to grow a certain muscle group, grow whatever it is. After that, maybe I'll take a little bit of time. You may not be growing as much, whatever, but during that time right here, you're going to be burning off a ton of fat, resetting your metabolism, resetting your system, ready to go. Like, okay, I'm ready for another spurt. But that's what happens when you're growing up too, isn't it? Did you grow all at one time when you hit puberty or whatever? No, it happens in spurts. You go through a summer, grow 3 inches or whatever, and then it comes. That's just the way it works. It's all the way around. And last one is for any weak muscle group. What we're doing today is to do muscle activation every single day. So for me, it was my rear delts were one of the hardest muscle groups to get working. Like even up until this last year, I've been training since I was 18 or 17. I was like, I just cannot feel this back there. And I had to go through. I did like 30 sets one day. I was like, I'm just gonna feel this no matter what happens. I'm gonna do reverse back deck for 30 sets until I feel this freaking muscle working. So what I do now, most shoulder days or almost every single day, is the muscle activation where I can shove my arm forward, contract my rear delt right there, and I hold it. So you can do this before workouts. You can do this when you get up in the morning before you go to bed, whatever you want to do. So what am I doing? I'm telling my muscle that it needs to contract. I'm forming those pathways from my mind to my muscle. Because if you don't have those pathways, what's going to magically happen when you come in here and do reverse pectin? Like all of a sudden it's going to turn on and you're going to feel it? No. You have to establish that connection first before anything else happens. So you can do muscle activation daily. Any muscle group that you have that's weak, you do it over and over and over again. So that's it for this first mini seminar. Oh, actually, no, we haven't even touched on recovery yet. Simple things. Number 1 is sleep. if you aren't getting, anywhere from 7 to, some people need 9 hours a night as far as recovery goes, then you're not going to be optimizing what you're doing on the gym. This is one of them. So you can have all your training set in place, everything's good, all your training's good. As soon as you get to your recovery, if you're only sleeping a couple hours and your mind is just going crazy, stress is number 2. I'll talk about it here in a second. You're not going to be able to recover. We all know that the first couple hours of sleep, testosterone's released, growth hormones released, like that's when you grow. And here you may think, I'm getting bigger, I'm growing because of blood flow and all that stuff, but it's your recovery. So my goal when I come in here and train, kill it. Every single time you're in here for a short amount of time, you leave. I don't need to be here all day unless I want to hang out and talk to other people afterwards. So my goal is to come in here, dominate, and then leave. Because as soon as I leave here, I start my recovery process. And that's when nutrition, supplementation, and all that stuff helps with it too. But your sleep every single night is huge. Especially after a big workout day. Man, I need to get some sleep or else I'm not recovering. And that's a big part of it. Second one, of course, is to try and de-stress. I know it's easier said than done because all of us have different lives, different jobs, different things. Some of us have kids. I know that must be difficult. I don't have any kids yet, but to go through that, we all have different various stressors that happen. So being able to control that on a daily basis. One thing that I do, first thing when you wake up in the morning, something super simple you can take away, is to think of 3 to 5 things that you're thankful for as soon as you wake up. When you start thinking of stuff like that, your mind goes in a different direction. And of course, the first 20 minutes of the day or so, whatever you put into your mind, that's usually what's going to happen the rest of the day. If you wake up and you fall out of bed or something after legs or whatever, and you're just cranky, you have a headache, whatever, you're going to be pissed off probably the rest of the day. You're going to flip someone off on the way to work, and whatever, it just carries over into everything else. So when you try and de-stress your mind, you can do this before bed. You can do this right when you get up. Just think of things that you're thankful for. It's just a very, very small thing, and of course there's a lot more little things that you can do. I'm going to touch a lot more on that in the mindset part of it, stress or deload time. I was guilty of making fitness my life, and a lot of people I know that they just want it as a part of their life. But when you start getting into it more and more and more, like your nutrition, your eating, oh no, I can't go out and eat that, or whatever, I can't go out to that party, or I can't have cake, or this. Fitness takes over pretty easily for the most part once you get it all down, is to be able to have that segment in your life. Fitness is a part of my life, but it doesn't own it. If you have those times in your life, you're like, everything else is gone. Even just I was talking to this guy the other night about, they put my phone down. I don't even want my phone on me for the next couple hours, or whatever it is. So you need to have those segmented times where you're away from everything else. Fitness may be your life or a part of it, but it doesn't need to be everything that you think about all that stuff for a period of time. It allows you to kind of de-stress, and you're going to get burned out if you keep going. If you think about it all the time, all my workouts, all my nutrition, all that stuff, believe me, I do that all the time. I'm preparing for a show. After a while, you just need a break. I'm gonna have a full week where my mind is gonna be blank. I don't want to even look at a gym or a dumbbell. Your body is gonna need it, your mind is gonna need it after a while, and that's just what happens. So to be able to plan those segments of stress time is absolutely critical in order to maintain your positive muscle growth and getting to the physique you want over time. So,